Ghana. If we get to the bottom of that, we will find that syndicate.
And so, the big mama, you are not aware of how these containers left the port as former MD? And you never ask questions?
I work at customs?
You never ask questions?
Do I work at GPA?
No. So, you never ask questions until now?
Ask your questions pertaining to the issues at hand. You are asking me how the containers left the port. As managing director, am I in charge of materials and transport? As managing director, is it part of my work, what do you call it, to be at the, listen, if let's solve
video we denya de ameka sakese me bese wan kasa wo hwe video no na do wadwen kire na de ba ensem e koso wo Ghana no update bia page you so ye de be mawo kai so be like page no na afi wa subscribe to channel for more videos o Facebook nso a share to all platforms so yenko eni nkoti.
Contract for freight forwarding and cargo clearing. Contract number no have between Electricity Company of Ghana Limited and Dawat Bond Limited, November 2024.
Okay.
That contract
you have it there.
Yes, that contract is there. There is a contract
between ECG and so it cannot be a fraudulent entity.
The committee says a fraudulent. Unfortunately, there is not much information to ground the fraud. No? And America say that's why we need a bit more information.
But here is OB lawyer reading out a contract between Dawas and then that of ECG. And then again they're saying that whether before or after there has not been any payment. And the committee also talks about a fraudulent Dawas entering into the zone, picking containers.
America say to even deal with whether a fraudulent or not. No, Oman, when you move containers, there is a paper trail.
Okay.
What they call ECG warehouse, they will give you a letter acknowledging receipt. It's simple, it ends it. It is a Yatimia deliver containers. Now, NDA, Muma 200, we've been able to deliver 47, 46. These are the paper trails. It ends. And then on Mint and Sono, Mint, the end, they were given a contract to clear 1,110. Oman, the question is, how many did they clear?
Mint.
Omoni a pre-finance. Yes, yeah, pre-finance. Omo clear saying. Containers never hin. Is there a paper trail? ECG omo letter acknowledging receipt of those containers and now
in all this, where was Dubik, David, Yafrimpong, Ben? Where were all these actors? Because Yenisika, you're starting 5 million payments. The committee's report, they did capture what the legal position or department of ECG said. I'm only seeing the material and transport. Transport. I'm only seeing the MD. No? So I'm saying that. So these players, no,
Enti Sawusha committee in a report now. Omoka, the people they spoke to.
Okay.
Let me read that bit. No?
Okay.
Na Obia enye clear in his or her mind. Okay. Enti Omoka wahase. Below is a list of activities performed in executing the assignment. The committee engaged directors of ECG to understand the procurement procedure in the company.
Okay.
Omo name directors.
Okay.
They didn't also stay so Omo engaging managing director. No?
Okay.
But I think it's only fair.
But you have been there before.
Yes.
So when we say directors, it's directors.
Oh yeah, directors.
Directors.
Once you're managing director, you have directors.
Yeah.
Good. Into managing director no ewo hoba to say we managing director say materials and transport bibia omo director director na ye no no dey abeto MD na nibu hwemu a then you
okay
it I am saying say if you name the then MD now then you should have spoken to the then MD also for the side.
But that's what I'm saying, that the then MD is still not a part of it.
Yes,
but directors are speaking.
Yes.
So who was then that MD?
The then MD, the name is not mentioned in the report. But omo engaging directors, I'll say reviewed documents submitted by the directors. They conducted site visits to Tema Port to ascertain, verify, and conduct a physical count of ECG containers on the undeclared cargo list. Evaluated the sourcing and contracting processes leading to the selection of suppliers. Reviewed procurement and contracting documents used for the acquisition of goods, works, and services. Analyzed the cost expended and revenues accruing to ECG to determine the value or benefit from the engagement with suppliers. Identified and discussed observations, gaps, and recommendations with relevant stakeholders. And conducted site visit to ECG's warehouse in Tema.
Okay.
Into Amuka warehouse. So and that's why I'm saying, say, if they went to the warehouse, then we should be furnished with info as to say, okay, containers and almost a clear warehouse.
Okay, so Obi, baby, I do this. this is ECG. We have a shipping unit. We adopted. We don't have money.
Yes.
We made it a redundant unit.
Yes.
We engaged the services of Mint and Dawas. One, the committee claims was fraudulently worked with. The other, the committee says ECG pre-financed.
Yes.
And now the number of or quantity of containers was spelled out.
Yes.
Now the difference between the committees and that of ECG, 1,130 and 2,400 something, down. But there's a difference.
There's a difference.
Between ECG and the committee,
yes.
there's a difference.
There's a difference.
Okay, so, but
between ECG, GAPOHA,
and the committee, there's a difference.
There is a difference on accounted for.
There's a difference on accounted for. But ECG, the can't find the figure. ECG figure stands at 2,456. Okay. So when we get to the physical counting, we are getting
1,328. That we are getting a difference of 1,320. NDC unaccounted.
Okay, so maybe I do know.
Yes.
Where did the minister
Good.
Good.
Inti, you realize that make such a date being so 31st January.
Yeah.
That was the date our minister put it committee together. Nobody can visit the portal. I'm a grantee interview say 2,500 plus containers in a eguha. Inti or set committees or munyan shemuna or mumayen who say I'm passing 2,500 containers in guho ana. Good. Oman committee no mo ye omajuma. Committee ni gusu ye omajuma na. And who's a committee in a report and a kind.
That is 31st.
31st when we start here omajuma.
Okay.
We then intercepted letters via time a committee ni ye omajuma. 3 letters actually. Number 1, even mienu every national security.
Okay.
And a bakun every minister.
Okay.
Eho. National security, and the first one is dated 12th February 2025.
31st January
Yes.
2025.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. 31st January 2025, and away 12th February 2025.
Okay.
And these letters now will ground our call for why we think there should be a forensic audit to reconcile the numbers. Because as we speak, ECG number
2,400 something.
GAPOHA number enko. You can't ECG dieno. There is a difference of 1,328. They are unaccounted for you. National Security so send it 2 letters. Omo kwako evacuate containers before.
Under whose instructions from the coin?
In the first letter nini. It's dated 12th February 2025.
So in all this, Dubik is not in play. Apia is David is not in play. Frimpong is not in play.
Yes.
Ben is not.
Management. ECG management.
Okay, all these they are not in. Okay. So we will come and deal with the decisions they took as to whether it was in the interest of ECG and Ghana by extension.
Even the fact of breaching procurement actions.
So we'll come to that aspect. But let's follow this one keenly.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
This letter is dated 12 February 2025. It was received by the Golden Jubilee Terminal on the 19th of February. It was received by the Director of Port Tema 18th February. By the General Manager Port Operations Enzo Received 18th February. Letter is addressed to the Director General Ghana Port and Harbours Authority, Accra. Request for assistance to evacuate ECG containers.
From?
Your outfit is by this letter informed of the decision by the National Security Council Secretariat to evacuate 240 containers and properties belonging to the Electricity Company of Ghana to its premises at Abelempi.
What was the basis for that information?
It is not stated. In this regard, a request is kindly made for a rich staker to enable the Secretariat carry out its operation. Kindly find attached a copy of the bill of entry for your perusal. Regards. This is signed by Osman Abdul Razak. Oman Osman Abdul Razak, the National Security Coordinator. This letter is copied to... Yes.
Osman Day.
Abdul Razak, National Security Coordinator.
Oh, man.
Yes.
Okay.
This letter is copied to Honorable Minister, Ministry of Transport, Accra. Commissioner General, Ghana Revenue Authority, Accra. Oman letter we no na kakra bi on him say the containers no ECG containers. The Ministry of Energy had instituted an investigation.
That's the ending one of
31st January.
And this is 12 February.
12 February.
Okay.
If national security per se omuko eyi containers nibia, what do you think is the right
The
thing?
communication should come from the ministry.
And I say it should go to the ministry.
Okay.
Say yes, we know say investigations be say ikoso, but we want to clear so and so containers. The question on this letter NSA
The 240.
Yeah. Were these containers cleared? If they were cleared, when we go to Abelempe premises of national security CCR, sa containers $1 million question.
If the containers were cleared, their destination was to that Abelempe. So if indeed
they say
Abelempe. Okay.
And if 240 was cleared, is 240 part of
the difference?
1,328.
And I say ECG. Okay.
And also another question.
Okay.
That's why a forensic audit to reconcile these numbers is important.
So this was straight from the national security to the port
Director General.
Okay.
Where are the first letter?
Okay.
12th February 2025, 240 containers.
Okay.
The second letter, 7th March 2025, and also addressed to the Director General, Ghana Port and Harbours Authority. Request for assistance to evacuate 706 ECG containers. You are kindly informed of plans to evacuate the list of attached containers belonging to the Electricity Company of Ghana to the Abelempe warehouse of the National Security Council Secretariat.
Who directed that?
When so is signed by Osman Abdul Razak, National Security Coordinator.
So,
but also meanwhile, all port charges be suspended on the said containers pending outcome of ongoing investigations on same. In the acknowledge Arsenal investigations Koso. Regards. Copied again to Honorable Ministry of Transport, Commissioner General Ghana Revenue Authority, Commissioner Customs Division, Assistant Commissioner Intermodal Shipping Agency, Maersk Ghana, blah 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 blah. And in this letter, Omo attach stock of ECG UCL containers at Terminal 2. Container 706 containers, a BR number, into specific the containers they wanted to go and evacuate from the port. Again, the question is that in this letter, even though they recognize investigations the energy minister was not copied in this letter.
The energy minister was not.
ECG
does not even come into the picture at all.
They were also not copied in this letter. Okay. In the investigations are ongoing.
So we have 400 and we have 706.
Yeah, well, 240
and
a 706.
706.
Yes.
Okay.
Mienu. Oka 240 and 706 bomwa. Domain 240 plus 706. Saying Mumbo Emfa Emari 240 plus 706. Amount number saying 240 plus 706. Okay. 940. 46. Good. In the 946 containers so far, and I pair these two letters, National Security, yes, may evacuate from the port.
Okay.
The question is that. Yes.
Between committee, and ECG, no difference in saying
1,328.
Okay. And you can't. The National Security for a clear no saying
946
into ECG 248 ana
enomu 946 and I say 1,328 now okay and no now
okay so okay
I think a very legitimate question and that's why we need to reconcile these figures but the overarching question the say 946 containers we National Security echo evacuate ampa omo evacuate and ewa Abelempe ho ampa NSC ekwa Abelempe ho ye betima kan sa 946 containers ne wo ho ana.
Okay, we need to audit that one is any problem.
Yes, good. In the second letter, National Security, then there is a third letter. Time and investigations committee ne yo madwuma. The committee had entered the Minister of Energy. Say boundary meters be ewo containers mu egu ho I no so no demurrage eka ba ho into minister enhwentro letter na ECG your friends omo clearing agent no Intimate and clear containers in free home. In the minister letter in Oman, it's dated 19th February 2025. By this time, that committee in Juman because in fact, you realize in this letter say the committee had hinted the minister.
Okay.
Or say,
so it is based on the committee's hint.
Yes.
And the minister
Sure. Good.
Okay.
Superintendent of Police, Marine, Ports, and Railways Department, Ghana Police Service, Tema. Request for immediate clearance of 75 containers owned by the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, at the port. Reference is made to the directive dated 30th December 2024 and reference letter issued by the Marine, Port and Railways Department of the Ghana Police Service in Tema. The Ghana Revenue Authority Customs Division, Tema, was instructed to prohibit all clearing agents/agencies except Dawat Bond Limited from clearing containers or consignment belonging to ECG.
Except?
Yes.
What was the basis for that exception?
I don't.
Okay.
By way of minister and letter,
okay.
Edia Koma, Superintendent of Police. This directive impacted Mint Logistics, one of the clearing agents engaged by ECG to manage the clearance of containers or consignment on its behalf. As a result, the company was unable to clear 75 containers out of the port to the ECG warehouse necessary to finalize the operation. Given the urgent necessity of these materials for power supply, we respectfully request your assistance in facilitating the clearance of the 75 containers managed by Mint Logistics Limited, currently held at the port. These containers have completed all required customs clearance processes and all applicable fees have been paid in full. However, their release is still pending due to existing directives despite adherence to all stipulations. We request your directive to be issued to the relevant authorities to facilitate the immediate release of these containers, as their extended stay at the port is causing unnecessary delays and financial repercussions. We, however, advise that this clearance and release should be conducted under the supervision of the technical committee constituted by the Ministry to investigate the circumstances leading to the overstay of ECG containers at the port. The declaration bill of entry dated 2509-2024 from the Ghana Revenue Authority Customs Division is attached for your reference. We appreciate your immediate attention to this matter. Signed, Honorable John Abdullah Jenapo, Minister of Energy and Green Transitions, Wakopi Chief of Staff, Jubilee House, Accra.
So this has a copy to the Chief of Staff?
Yes, to the Chief of Staff.
Okay, so
and the Minister was requesting for 75 containers to be cleared. Again, the question is that, and this clearance was to be done under the supervision of the Technical Committee and investigations. Were these containers cleared? If they were cleared, where were they sent? Because they were to be sent to ECG.
Before you even get to whether they were cleared or otherwise.
Let me land my point.
You know what?
Oh, Alfred, let me land this point. Listen, on a day-to-day basis in the seat as an ECG MD, you need to enter the place one day to see how when you walk into the office at about 7 a.m., by the next time you realize you have not even eaten, you've not drank water, but you are leaving the place at 9 p.m. You enter, the sun is up. By the time you are leaving, it's late. You would understand that, yes, the number of things that go through. Yes, this same letter was forwarded to the legal directorate. This letter that we wrote was forwarded to the legal directorate. So technically, I don't work in isolation. Okay. So if that's why I keep saying, if there was a response, by now, the director legal should have it.
So with everything that has been raised as a matter of concern in terms of whereabouts of containers and how they get out of the ports and ECG not being able to even account for them, you believe that if you were contacted, maybe clarity would have been brought to bear, and so there was nothing wrong done?
I am not saying that. I said there are containers don't get missing. Containers can get misplaced.
Okay.
Let's all assist the minister and the forensic audit for us to identify the location of these containers.
Okay, the containers have been
if we do it and we are short of, and whatever we need to do holistically to identify where these containers are, who took the containers out, because no matter what, a container number will be linked to someone. There's always that trail when it comes to containers. Whoever signs off on the way bills are always there. That is documentation that is easily verifiable. That is again documentation that is easily verifiable even with the shipping lines. So for me, I think the committee failed the minister, and let's look at it in this broad view. And so if that was done right for the minister, I believe the minister would have a better understanding of what is going on. But for the committee to come out with a report, name someone in it, not give the person the opportunity, I'm not going to address it in the public domain. No.
So you say the containers were misplaced.
In my candid opinion.
Good. These misplaced containers did not get misplaced over just a 3-week period or a 2-month period that this administration has been in office.
How would you know?
Based on the details of what, in terms of the auction period.
You see?
And I'm coming. In terms of the auction period of these containers, you would know the period that these containers were sold or auctioned by the GRA, because you wrote this letter in 2023.
So if you are going to be mischievous, the minister in January said 2005.
So I don't think that if you're talking about fairness, there's no reason to say we're being mischievous.
So let's be fair. No, I'm talking about fairness here.
Yes.
I am saying
why do you
there are inconsistencies in the situation. And the inconsistencies do not bring what? Clarity. Let's all assist. And I will continue to say it. Let's all assist to bring clarity and closure to this matter.
The misplaced containers, that's wrongdoing. It's not
by who?
Proper procedure.
Who misplaced it?
I think you should be answering those questions.
It was with the custody of the what? Ghana Customs and in the custody of Ghana ports.
But if they are over time you import containers with content and they are misplaced, and as an MD you don't get concerned about it, how do you expect me to also believe that
from what you are saying,
you are not part of the entire syndicate?
If that's the case, so be it. It will come out in the forensic audit. If that's the case, so be it. Let the record show that Dubik was part of the syndicate. If that is what we are looking for, let's look for it. What would be Dubik's aim to be part of a syndicate to take containers out? Do I live in a container house?
Well,
are my homes, if you have come to my home and it was built with containers, yes, you can say something like that and people will believe you. But the conversation at hand is this. And you see, we keep digressing on the issue. Containers have arrived for ECG. ECG didn't have money to clear the containers. The containers went into an unclaimed area. Yes, the containers were there. Some of them were subjects of an investigation. They were there for a long period of time. As they were there for a long period of time, some of the containers cannot be found. How many terminals are there in the, what do you call it, in GPHA? So have we gone to every single terminal to determine whether there's MPS? Don't forget. So let's go through all of this. So if you go to GPHA alone, you are not also being fair to GPHA. Let me finish. So there are how many terminals? There's Atlas, there's other. Let's go through all of them. Don't say I went here and I counted and that was it. Let's go through all of them, or let's go into the system.
So because you classify this as misplacement and not missing, would you say containers found in fabrication companies and warehouses of Chinese were misplaced?
How were they? How would you call those containers missing? How did they leave?
No, I'm saying I'm using your own terminology.
No, yeah, so I'm responding to you. How did the container leave the port? No. If you answer that question, you would know, because we all live in Ghana. How did that container leave the port? The answer to all what we are looking for is how did those containers leave the port of the Republic of Ghana? If we get to the bottom of that, we will find that syndicate.
And so, the big mama, you are not aware of how these containers left the port as former MD? And you never ask questions?
Do I work at customs?
You never ask questions?
Do I work at GPT?
No. So you never ask questions until now?
Ask your questions pertaining to the issues at hand. You are asking me how the containers left the port. As managing director, am I in charge of materials and transport? As managing director, is it part of my work? What do you call it? To be at the, listen.
But
if let's solve.
Confirm me subscribe to channel way, but omu ni notifications me ba live for anase me post video to ma omu hunu me video nhwe. Etian wan se obekọ YouTube no so wabọ me din Ekonaba TV no ebe yi aba. Eyi ba no wabọ me video ba akoso. Obo me video ba akoso a se won subscribe ya no wamia subscribe button no so. Se won subscribe so a no wamia adoma no so to all notification. Woyɛ ne saa na sɛ me de video to mu a wobonsa won sa be kan na won so wanya bi ahwɛ sɛ de be ya me ba obehu me nti no mia adoma no so na afi so kai so be like me page no sɛ de be ya me video bi a me post bi ansa betimi aka bi betimi akɔ settings ɛwɔ phone no so na wa mia settings na akɔ notification na afi akɔ mia YouTube no wo de ato notification button to wa mia to hɔ sɛ de be ya me ba live wa benya me nti na me kyerɛ saa no ma we nyina me serɛ sɛ wonya ne saa yɛ ne saa sɛ won subscribe to me channel so a subscribe to channel sɛ de be me video to mu a unsa betimi aka bi me da ase.
How to use the laser home kit. First, apply the gel directly to the tooth surface as demonstrated on the video. Second, connect the light to your phone using the USB provided. Leave the light shining on your teeth for 16 minutes. Fourth, rinse your mouth and the mouthpiece with water, cold water. And lastly, smile. Using the toothpaste separately. Brush twice daily with the toothpaste. Bear in mind, this product is not suitable for pregnant women, breastfeeding mothers, and children under 18 years old. Enjoy!
Ayεhu, so we pair a sifita structure of what yet, and the enough for Hokodom unique laser whiten. Any tea stains, coffee stains, smoking stains beer, unique laser whitening product. Ebe yini nyina free summer come. The oyan is so befraying. I was 079-9979-2330. Unique laser whitening or say Muni Seso.
Unique. Pennyforce bibio wi asenti ne da ne atopno na ne pabone fonti e wo se wo bambo hu hia na ne papa mu de Pro Technologies ana me kan fama wo ane Pro Technologies. We are specialized in both sales and installation of CCTV cameras. Yeton esa install CCTV cameras in the South Ghana and NASA brochure na ufi Ghana. Now beso CCTV camera installation. We need Pro Technologies and then so we CCTV camera installation, electric fence, automated gate, access control, video doorbell, and intercom, and satellite TV, home theater. So we pay biato and wato and our person install them out. Pro Technologies and our software. Na shenen so. Say fidie nyina from America brochime ndi send papam na opedia man nwene ho na ne bo anso da form me kye no the web brochime mu ha ene e branch e wo Ghana ye ni mo bra wo bre nti sika fa ye nsem se fa nya japade ma wo Ghana wo da na ne tenese ye say general construction so web brochire na peso si fi o Ghana e dan plan bi o peso si se wa sha se dada ana afa na peso si plan bia ye besi ama eno achi so ye solar power ana bamba ho nsensem bi ade woni ye ni nsawoso ne sanso ye smart home abefo video bi apese hye e wo fie ana watuma mo de ma wo woni ye ni nsawoso we are just a call away ne sanso wadan de ma han ana ofre brochire bedu Ghana na wo pe full house room ana apartment ahan for short term ana long term ye be ma obiane border form na bamba ho nsem de ma nwene ho enna ye interior decoration so wasi fie na wie ana ye si fie na ma no yes sign decoration ye besiesie odi ana office o e dia ma no edi so tom fidie bi na wo hokun e fa so install ana ne settings ye beye e dia ma e wo Ghana wo behu yen wo mra ofra denta e di wani a che dodowa wo behu ye e wo ahie ye ne Emalin pharmacy e na wo the same building. For information or WhatsApp 401-7570-300 and a +401-6992-254. Pro Technologies. We have the solutions for your security and home entertainment needs at affordable prices.